in the EU then. We have a challenge in the European Union. And the European Union is a shrinking part of the world population. It's an aging population. Knowledge and competence is spreading across the world. So, you know, the competitive advantage that Europe always had superior technology and so on, no longer. The EU labor productivity growth is falling behind. Other large players are getting into EU. You see that China and Korea now have 11% of the patent applications in the EU. And India also is moving ahead, you know, also a big one. And for this, EU set up this Lisbon process to say we're going to get ahead. We're going to become the leading world innovation economy by 2010. It's also important to become an innovation economy because since everybody is getting older, one can't expect people to work more to get economic growth. One has to find new ways of doing things so that one can work less and still get economic growth. But the problem here is that the Lisbon process is not working. It's in big trouble. And people are not even discussing it because, you know, journalists don't really get what this is about. It's not about everyday politics. It's not about sports. So I think the challenge for the EU is to now bring these issues up to public discussion and get public attention to it. And there is what I think is that this is something which is very crucial for the future of Europe. People have been, ministers have discussed in Lisbon how to put something together, and they put something together. It's not working, and it's not even being discussed why it's not working. So all this is sort of, say, happening outside democracy, and people are not involved, and it's their futures. We need to discuss. We need to have the ability to discuss solutions for these problems. Now, in order to discuss innovation, you need to have language for it. You know, you can't discuss things without language. Innovation is the introduction of something new. Okay? Introduction requires communication. Difficult to introduce anything if you can't communicate. Communication requires language. Something new needs a name in order to be discussed. If I have a name for something and you don't have that name, well, it doesn't help. Huh? We have to know what something is called in order to discuss it, and that's tricky if it's something new. The news, however, spreads the new words, so the new things can be discussed and introduced. So, you know, getting large public attention for something new and putting a name on it enables society to discuss it and introduce it. That's also, you know, why the news is potentially a real power player when it comes to innovations. We can say, you know, some new words that everybody knows also in politics, again, like Watergate was a word. Basically, I'd say basically anything that you can think of has been spread by the news. iPhone, you heard it first through the news. Now you can discuss the iPhone between each other. Without the news, it would have to reach you through, you know, your friends and the networks. So it's something really, really important here. Okay. But we need to have a language not only for discussing innovations, we need a language also for discussing the process of innovation, okay? So innovation journalism would then give a language for discussing, for example, how innovation happens. We need to have a language for discussing who does what and why in the innovation ecosystems, to recognize that. Language for our ability to innovate and our competitiveness. You know, that's something that you could think about. How would you find out if your society has a good ability to innovate or not? what stops us or enables us, what stops us from innovating and what enables us to innovate. What can we do about these problems? Who wants to do something about it? And what are the trends and what are the big events in how people introduce new things? This is, I think, very good focus for innovation journalism. And you see, it's rather political, but it also includes business, it also includes culture, it also includes technology. You must be able to bring these things together. So here is the innovation economy then, again. Research is when you take money, from that you create knowledge. Innovation is when you take knowledge and create money. And if you have a good innovation economy, then this sort of circle produces profit. Then if you produce wealth by going around that, then you have a working innovation economy. But then, of course, there are decisions in society, right? What knowledge should we create from the money we have? And what knowledge should we choose to invest in order to earn money? So here would be typically for example, committees handing out money to universities or to R&D projects and so on. And here would be typically like an investment committee in a venture capital firm or you know, the board of a company or something like that. And these guys take decisions, and they take decisions also based on what they see around them in society. And what they see around them in society is often what they see in the newspaper. I mean, they can't see anything. And so the news actually affects these decisions. Also, if you want to have a good innovation system, you need to have, it's not only industry. I mean, the business will earn money on making innovations, but they interact with universities because they want to have good engineers, for example, right? That's very important, and good economists. And government also interacts because it's the legal systems, it's the funding systems, it's well, laws, taxes. So if these guys are somehow interacting constructively with each other, it doesn't need to be that they're friends. But if they have constructive interaction, then one will have a good ability to innovate. If you have, for example, that these guys want to do telecom, and these don't know what telecom is, they're much more interested in fishing, and these guys want to educate people that will become good priests in churches, then you will not have a very strong telecom industry in that region. It says itself. Now, okay, so what sort of brings alignment in society here? They've got to share some information, because these people sit in one set of houses, these sit in some other houses, and these sit in also yet other houses, and they don't meet that much, really. Okay, but they actually, they all read the news. So if it's in the newspaper in the morning, they will, everybody will discuss it. So, I mean, the news can set the agenda in this innovation system. Let's say that this would be, you know, the region of Maastricht, for example, and you have an innovation page in the newspaper. Well, that will be very influential for the discussions what will happen in Maastricht. So that's sort of bringing the innovation economy into the democracy. Also, for news, it can be a rather good business to cover innovation, because if you think of those different parts earlier, there are lots of people working there, and those are readers. And if you cover news that's sort of in all of their